Welcome to the Advanced Learning Hub. Today you will learn how to define, create, test, and save macros like a pro. If you want to turn hours of repetitive Excel work into a single click, you're in the right place. When we press Record Macro button in Microsoft Excel, and use keyboard and mouse to perform a certain recurring task, Visual Basic for Application, VBA, converts these keyboard and mouse actions into codes and also record these actions in the form of a macro. Now we can use this macro on any recurring task later on. Let us understand this definition with an illustration. On the left side of the window there is an original sales report, which we monthly receive from the sales department. For this illustration, we would name it as Unformatted Report. Certain tasks are performed on this report before presenting it to the relevant department. The resulting amended version, namely, Sample Formatted Report, is shown on the right side. These tasks are to be performed on Unformatted Report. For Units Sold column, compute total units sold, make total amount bold, and central alignment of quantities sold. For Unit Price and Sales Revenue columns, format the column as $. For Sales Revenue column, calculate sales revenue for each model. Calculate total revenue for all items, and show total revenue in bold. For achieving our current tasks, we will create a macro, which uses absolute references. The difference between absolute and relative references will be explained in another video. Always use a duplicate worksheet for creating a new macro, or for running the macro for the first time. Keep the original worksheet intact. The reason is that if something goes wrong during creating or running the macro, resulting in unexpected outcome, the Excel application cannot undo that error. For creating the macro for this video, let us move to the computer screen. Press Developer tab. If we press Use Relative References button to record the macro will use relative references. Since we intend to use absolute references, do not select this button. In the unselected state, it will use absolute references. Please note that, in case of absolute references, is also not relevant as to which cell of the worksheet is selected, either before recording of the macro or running of the macro. Now, press Record Macro button, the Record Macro dialog box will open. In the name box, type a name which describes the nature of the macro, such as formatting sales report. Then, assign a shortcut key such as lowercase a. This step is optional, but it expedites the running of the macro. In the Store Macro in field, select this workbook. Now we can only use this macro for the current workbook only. Click the link to the top right side of the screen to find the detailed procedure to fill in the macro dialog box. In the description box, type information about the macro, such as formatting sales report, using absolute references. You may also include other essential information in the description, so that any person, other than the creator of the macro, may fully understand the macro before using it. Then hit OK button to start recording of macro. This message is received because spaces in the macro name are not allowed. Click OK and remove these spaces. Then press OK button again to start recording of macro. Now all actions performed with mouse and keyboard will be recorded. You can also notice that the Record Macro button has now changed to Stop Recording. When you press this button, recording of macro will stop. Our first task is in relation to Unit Sold column. We will compute total units sold and make total amount bold, then central alignment of quantities sold. To achieve this task, select cell C13 and click on some symbol. Then press Enter key. Total of the quantities will fill the cell. To make the font of total as bold, select cell C13 and click bold icon. The quantity total has converted to bold. Select cell C5 to C13, press Center tab and Middle Align tab. The values in the column will be aligned in the center. Our next task relates to the columns of Unit Price and Sales Revenue. We need to format amounts of the columns as $. Select the range of cells from D5 to E13, and right-click in the range of cells, select Format Cells, select Currency, currently pound symbol is selected. To change it to $English United States, click this down arrow, select the desired currency, and press OK. Now numbers are showing as $. Please note that some blank cells, formatted as $, are not showing any $sign. However, when we will insert figures in them, these figures will be shown as $. As well. Lastly, for sales revenue column, we will calculate sales revenue for each model, calculate total revenue for all items, and show total revenue in bold. To do so, select cell E5 and press equal key. Select cell C5 and press multiplication key. Then select D5 cell and press enter key. Cell E5 will fill with sales revenue amount of the first computer model. Thereafter, compute the revenues for other models. Select cell E5 and press Ctrl+C keys. Then select cell E6 to cell E12, and press enter key. Selected cells will fill with the revenues of the relevant models. Now select cell E13. Hit the Sum tab and press enter key, to compute the total revenue amount of all models. Now select cell E13 and click bold icon, to make total amount bold. All steps of our task are complete now. You can see, now both the reports are same in all respects, with the exception of their cell ranges. For stopping the macro, click Developer tab, then hit Stop Macro tab. After creating the macro, we would like to view and test it. There are basically two methods, in which we can view the list of all the macros that we have created. In the first method, click the View tab. Then click this down arrow below the Macros tab, and hit the View Macros tab to open the Macros dialog box. In the macro name box, you can find the required list. Since we have created just one macro, namely, formatting sales report, the list would show this macro only. As soon as we create other macros, they will also be included in the list. Alternatively, hit Developer tab. Then click Macros tab, the same Macros dialog box will open, which was opened in the first method. Besides, you can also open this dialog box with the help of a shortcut key, Alt+F8. You can open Macro Dialog box by using any one of the three methods mentioned earlier, such as by clicking Developer and Macros tabs in this order. The macro name box will show all the macros created by us. There are also different tabs on the dialog box. First one is Run tab, which is used to apply any selected macro, given in the list of macros, on any unformatted recurring worksheet. There are also other tabs in the dialog box. Step Into tab is used for debugging. Edit tab enables us to modify a macro. Both of these tabs require knowledge of the VBA, and are meant for advanced level videos. Delete tab is used to remove any selected macro from the given list. When we hit Options tab to open Macro Options dialog box, we can amend shortcut key and description of a macro. After making any change here, click OK. Otherwise, click Cancel to go back to the Macro dialog box. Now we are all set to run and assess our newly created macro. Always run a newly created macro on a copy of the original worksheet. Keep the original worksheet intact. Open a copy of the original worksheet. On the left-hand side, there is an unformatted version. On the right-hand side, is given a sample formatted version. Please note that, for absolute references, it does not matter as to which cell of the worksheet is selected at the time of running the macro. The macro will always format the same range of cells for which it was created. That is C5 to E13 in this case. We can run the macro either by using the shortcut key or pressing the Run tab on Macro dialog box. And there are three ways to reach the Macro dialog box. As mentioned just now, there are a few ways to run a macro. The fastest method is to use the shortcut key, if we had chosen any. For the current macro, the shortcut key is Ctrl+A, which we will use just now to run the macro. Now, press Ctrl+A keys simultaneously. As soon as you do so, the unformatted table on the worksheet will be formatted immediately. Compare both the tables on the worksheet. You will not find any difference in them, except that their cell ranges are different. Now we will take another unformatted worksheet, and run the macro by using Run tab, in the Macro Dialog box. As mentioned earlier, we can reach this dialog box, in 3 ways. Click Developer tab and then Macros tab, to reach the Macro Dialog. After reaching the Macro Dialog box, we will find our macro in the macro name box, namely, Formatting Sales Report, which is currently the only macro in the box. Note that the report given in the worksheet is unformatted. Select the macro and press Run tab. The unformatted report has been formatted. The foremost purpose of creating a macro is to use it for repetitive tasks in future, therefore we must save it. Otherwise we will lose it forever. As you know, we created a macro, Formatting Sales Report, to convert this unformatted report into this sample formatted report. After creation of the macro, the unformatted report, and the sample formatted report looked alike. Then we tested the newly created macro on another unformatted sales report. As soon as we pressed Ctrl+A, the unformatted report was formatted. For viewing this macro, click Developer tab. Then click Macros tab. On Macro Dialog, you would find this macro. Now we are all set to save the macro. Click on Save button. A dialog box will appear, which provides 2 options. If you click Yes tab, the workbook will be saved as macro-free workbook, with extension XLSX, and the macro will not be saved. Since we intend to save the macro, click No tab. On the Save As window, type of file is being shown as Excel workbook. If we choose this file type, the macro will not be saved. In order to save the macro, we need to change the file type to Excel Macro Enabled Workbook. To do so, click this down arrow. Then select Excel Macro Enabled Workbook. Now file type has changed to Excel Macro Enabled Workbook. Select the folder in which you would save macro. I am selecting Documents folder. Then press Save button. The macro has been saved. Open Documents folder, you would find 2 Excel files. First file is the macro enabled file, which was saved moments ago. Right-click this file, and then click Properties. On the next dialog, the type of file is mentioned as Microsoft Excel Macro Enabled Worksheet, with extension XLSM. Close the dialog. Now double-click this file to open it. Hit Developer tab, and then click Macros tab. On Macro Dialog, you will find the macro, namely Formatting Sales Report, which we saved moments ago, which confirms we have successfully saved the macro for use in future.